Confederate activation. The initial part of the Archer-Davis plan had so far worked even better than either man could have hoped. The swift advance of the two cavalry regiments on the western escarpment to the woods, one dismounting and entering, the other waiting to swing around to be in a position to hit the flank of the Union infantry regiment or swoop down onto the main Union battle line. Archer's single regiment ran the Union cavalry regiment forward into a firefight which could only end one way. The artillery had neutralised the enemy cannon and was now starting on the task of decimating the enemy infantry. It was now time to execute Phase 2. The artillery limbering and moving forward into effective range, and the hidden reserve of 4 infantry regiments to move up behind the initial force that had been purposely revealed to the Union general. They would advance slowly, allowing time for the cannon to weaken the enemy before charging in with the bayonet to finish the job. 1st Maryland moved to the edge of the tree line, as 2nd Virginia charging to the flank of 41st New York. 5th Alabama poured a volley into the troopers of 5th Michigan. The rest of Archer's brigade, 13th Alabama and 1st Tennessee, appear like ghosts and form up ready to advance. Confederate artillery limbered and ready to advance. All 4 regiments of Davis' brigade in column, the 2nd, 11th and 42nd Mississippi and the 55th North Carolina. Davis's 4th Brigade ready to advance. 41st New York moved from the frying pan into the fire. Looking down the valley from the Union position. Brigadier General Ade Ames' face was ashen. Binoculars jammed to his eyes. He watched in abject disbelief as first 2, which then became 4, fresh rebel infantry regiments came into view. 2 on the eastern escarpment and 2 moving in behind those already advancing beside the road. Now the enemy artillery was limbing up to add to his concern. His 41st New York were in a very vulnerable position by the wood, and he could see no way of easily extracting them. Leo von Gilser rode up and reined his horse in beside his fellow commando. "You have seen them, Ade?" he asked, knowing full well the answer. It answers the questions of why they didn't attack yesterday afternoon. They were waiting for these men. Ade lowered his glasses. That extra artillery that puzzled us was actually just part of a whole fresh brigade. Leo nodded. "It seems we have drifted into Shit Creek, my friend. The thing is, do we have a paddle?" Ade shook his head. "I'm not retreating again, not after the debacle at Hog River. If we stand, that artillery will move up and blow us to pieces at their leisure." "Ade, what do you propose?" "The only damn thing I can propose. We advance and attack them. They will assume that we will withdraw, but my friend, this time we take away the initiative they have so far enjoyed. I'm sick and tired of countering their moves. They can counter ours for a change." Leo looked down the valley as the enemy batteries started to move forward. Trying to retire would be virtually impossible, and it would turn into a rout. They certainly could not just stand here and be blown to pieces with no way to reply. Attacking may just surprise and confuse the enemy enough for our boys to get among them. Maybe that elusive paddle lay out there in the valley. They would soon find out. Musketry from 5th Alabama decimate 5th Michigan, the few survivors mounting up and racing for their own lines. The already weakened 41st New York take another body blow as the 2nd Virginia smash into their flank. As the cavalry are mounted and involved in melee, the cross sabre also counts. 2 hits and a fallback. The 41st is now a spent force with a single elan remaining. A general advance along the whole Union front. It would be they who would have to cross that deadly ground. Confederate initiative. 2nd Virginia ignore the routing 41st New York and turn to face the flank of the enemy. 1st Maryland rush back through the wood to their waiting horses. Artillery unlimber as 4th Brigade continue to move forward. 3rd Brigade is also now united. The Southern gunners lick their lips in anticipation of so many approaching juicy targets. The 41st New York Regiment leave the field heading north. With drums beating and flags flying, the Union brigades advance, hoping to find a way out of that well-known creek. Here they come, boys. Solid shot this time, then canister as a warm welcome. With the enemy cavalry swept away and the powder smoke clearing, the advancing Union soldiers came into view. A last hurrah, perhaps, for Ames and von Gilser, seen from the ridge occupied by 2nd Virginia. Rebel initiative. 5th Alabama shuffle left to allow 13th Alabama to form a battle line. Meanwhile, Major Harry Gilmore and his men raced to join Colonel Munford. A storm of steel. Each battery scores 2 hits, as well as a single pushback. 17th Connecticut and 25th Ohio bear the brunt, the latter unit also falling back. Some of the Union regiments had moved into musket range. They readied their weapons. 7th Connecticut angled away to allow 54th New York to advance. 17th Connecticut angled away to allow 54th New York to advance. On the Union left flank, 25th and 107th Ohio, with the 153rd Pennsylvania on the extreme flank. The artillerymen hurry to load canister, and some shots of the valley before the carnage begins. If ever Ade Ames needed to win an initiative role, this was that occasion. It seems the dice gods are backing Ade Ames, just. 3 regiments of Union muskets open up on the enemy. 17th Connecticut score a single hit on 2nd Mississippi. Their elan is down to 3, so they could only roll 3 dice. A blue disc for the rebels. 153rd Pennsylvania, down to only 2 elan, failed to register a hit on 13th Alabama. Finally, the full-strength 25th Ohio record 2 hits on the 1st Tennessee, moving them to a green disc. The soldiers in blue brace themselves for what they are about to receive. The 1st Maryland and 2nd Virginia Cavalry swoop down behind the enemy battle line. 2nd Mississippi let rip at the 17th Connecticut, hitting twice. With a red disc, they become a spent force. 5th Alabama on the 25th Ohio. 2 casualties and a fallback are registered. 13th Alabama on 153rd Pennsylvania. Three hits and 2 flags totally destroy their opponents, the survivors of which flee to the rear. The end of the 153rd Pennsylvania Regiment. The carnage continues as both batteries concentrate on the 54th New York with a predictable outcome. The regiment dissolves and those who still can flee. The blue wave is reduced to a ripple. Ames cannot allow this carnage to continue. Both Leo's and his own men have given all they could. The beleaguered survivors of 17th Connecticut surrounded by the enemy. The rebel cavalry have a ringside seat. The costly Union assault has made little difference on the 2 Confederate brigades. Union initiative. Ames and von Gilser lead what is left of their brigades north in the hope of making an escape. 17th Connecticut make a vain attempt to follow. 17th Connecticut are forced to surrender. The artillery give a parting shot to the 25th Ohio and von Gilser, who is accompanying them, with a devastating result. The battalion is destroyed and von Gilser is severely wounded. A view with the captured and destroyed Union units removed from the table. The mauled 107th Ohio move off up the valley with Ade Archer. Leo von Gilser lies wounded among his men. So the battle ends. The rebels are once again victorious and in control of the field. This will allow them to recover some elan, but the Union will not receive any such luck. Their men fall into captivity.